Have you ever noticed how life sometimes feels like it's stuck on repeat? The same arguments with the same people, the same fears that come up in new situations, the same doubts that whisper in the back of your mind. It's almost as if no matter how much you want to move forward, some invisible hand keeps pulling you back into the same familiar loop. These moments can be frustrating, even heartbreaking, because deep inside you know that you are capable of so much more. You know that you are not here to live the same year over and over again, calling it growth, and yet here you are, standing in front of a pattern that seems to have shown up in 100 different disguises. What if I told you that these recurring moments are not punishment, not destiny, and not a sign that you are broken? What if they are simply echoes, reverberations of old energy still bouncing around in your field, waiting to be noticed? Imagine standing at the edge of a canyon, shouting into the vast space and hearing your own voice come back to you. It doesn't mean the canyon is trying to hurt you. It's simply reflecting what was sent out. This is exactly how many of our inner struggles operate. They are energy echoes, responses to thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that were put into motion long ago. Some of these echoes come from childhood, where a single moment of pain taught you to close off your heart. Others come from experiences where you felt rejected, abandoned, or unseen, and a part of you decided, quietly and without words, to protect yourself forever. Over time, those decisions became patterns. Those patterns became identities. And that identity, who you think you are, is what you keep experiencing in your outer world. Not because the universe is cruel, but because reality is simply mirroring back what you are unconsciously broadcasting. You may notice that these echoes often feel louder when you are about to grow. Just as a sound reverberates more intensely in an enclosed space, our unhealed energy tends to get louder when we are stepping into a new chapter. You might find yourself repeating the same argument with a partner just when the relationship is getting deeper, or facing the same financial fears right before a major breakthrough. This is not a coincidence. It is a sign that the old energy is surfacing so you can finally release it. The beauty of this awareness is that once you recognize that your struggles are echoes, you stop taking them so personally. You stop blaming yourself and start becoming curious. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this showing me about what I'm still holding on to?" That single shift from judgment to observation is where transformation begins. Because you cannot change what you refuse to see, and you cannot heal what you will not feel. In this video, we are going to go on a journey together, a journey that will help you identify these energy echoes, understand why they keep showing up, and most importantly, learn how to release them so you can step into a reality that feels new, fresh, and aligned with who you truly are. I'm not here to give you a quick motivational boost that fades tomorrow. I want to offer you something much more powerful, a framework that allows you to finally stop recycling the past and start living from your authentic, liberated self. You'll notice that as you go through this process, your inner world begins to quiet down. The noise that used to dominate your mind, the fear, the self-doubt, the not good enough voice, begins to dissolve. You feel lighter, more centered, and more open to life. And when your energy shifts, your reality shifts with it. The people around you respond differently, opportunities appear where there were none, and you begin to feel as though life is conspiring in your favor. But before we get to that place, we must begin where all transformation begins, with awareness. Noticing the echo, hearing it clearly, and realizing that it is not who you are. It is simply something you have carried, and if you carried it in, you have the power to put it down. This is the invitation of today's journey, to see your old patterns, not as flaws but as feedback, to meet them with compassion instead of resistance, and to choose in this very moment, to no longer live as the echo but as the original voice, the creator of your reality. So take a deep breath with me. Feel your feet on the ground, your body supported, your heart open just a little bit more than before. You are safe here, you are supported here, and together we are about to unravel the energy that has kept you stuck for far too long. By the time we reach the end of this journey, you will not only understand why you've been repeating the past, but you will also have the tools to step beyond it. This is where your new chapter begins. Let's take a closer look at why we get stuck in the loop of effort in the first place. From the time we were children, most of us were taught that if we wanted something, we had to earn it. Work hard in school to get good grades. Work hard at your job to earn more money. Work hard on yourself to be worthy of love, success, and happiness. The very idea of trying harder is woven into the fabric of society. We are rewarded for being busy, praised for our discipline, admired for our hustle. But what most people never question is whether this constant striving actually gets them what they want or just keeps them spinning in circles. You might recognize this cycle in your own life. Maybe you have set big goals and gone all in, pouring your time, energy, and even your health into achieving them, only to find that the outcome didn't feel as satisfying as you imagined, or worse, didn't happen at all. Maybe you have tried to fix yourself with endless self-improvement, chasing the next book, podcast, or strategy, thinking, if I can just try a little harder, maybe then I will finally break through. And yet every time, it feels like the finish line moves further away. It is exhausting, isn't it? This is what I call the trap of effort. It is a loop where you keep believing that the solution to your stuckness is more action, more force, more doing, when in reality the very energy behind that action is keeping you stuck. Here's why: when you act from a state of fear, lack, or desperation, your nervous system is in survival mode. You are operating from fight or flight, which means your body is flooded with stress hormones, your mind is hyper-focused on danger, and your decisions are made from a place of reactivity rather than creativity. In this state, even your best ideas are limited because your brain is just trying to keep you safe, not help you thrive. Think about it like this. Imagine someone drowning, thrashing wildly in the water. The more they struggle, the more they sink. Their frantic energy makes it harder to float, harder to breathe, harder to see the lifeboat that might be just a few feet away. This is what trying harder can feel like when it comes from a misaligned state. The harder you thrash, the more you reinforce the belief that you are not safe, that life is not working, that you have to fight to survive. And that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Life continues to show you more reasons to fight. There is also a psychological component to this trap. Many of us tie our sense of worth to how much we do. If we are not constantly achieving, we feel lazy or unworthy. This keeps us in a cycle of proving ourselves, to others, to society, and even to ourselves. The tragedy is that this proving energy is rooted in the assumption that who we are right now is not enough. And as long as you are operating from that assumption, no amount of effort will ever be enough to make you feel whole. The harder you try, the more you reinforce the idea that you have to try in order to deserve what you want. Spiritually, this cycle keeps you in the Newtonian model of reality, where you believe everything is linear, and cause and effect is strictly mechanical. You think, if I just do X, I will get Y, forgetting that life is not just mechanical, it is also energetic. In the quantum model, the state you are in determines which version of reality you align with. If you are vibrating at the frequency of frustration, you keep attracting more situations that match frustration, no matter how much action you take to escape them. This is why people can work themselves to the bone and still feel broke, lonely, or stuck, because the state they are operating from hasn't shifted. And here is the really tricky part. Effort often feels virtuous. It feels like you are doing something productive, like you are moving the needle. In the short term, it can even create a rush, that feeling of being in control, of doing everything you can. But over time, the cost becomes clear. You feel drained, burned out, resentful, and disconnected from joy. You start to notice that the very thing you are chasing, abundance, freedom, love, feels further and further away the harder you try to grasp it. The truth is that effort is not the problem. Misaligned effort is. Action taken from a place of alignment feels inspiring, light, and energizing. But action taken from fear feels heavy, urgent, and forced. The key is not to stop taking action, but to stop taking action from the wrong state. The trap of effort keeps you focused on the external, on doing more, having more, forcing outcomes, instead of focusing on the internal state that would make those outcomes flow naturally. As you reflect on this, you might notice areas of your life where you have been over-efforting. Maybe you have been working overtime trying to make a relationship work, bending over backward to be accepted, or obsessively controlling every detail of your career path. Maybe you have been pushing yourself to meditate, to journal, to manifest correctly, turning even your spiritual practice into a performance. It is not your fault. You were taught that this is how you create results. But what if there was a gentler way? What if the results you want are not hiding behind more effort, but behind a single shift in how you feel right now? That is what we are going to explore next. Because once you see the trap clearly, you can step out of it. You can stop exhausting yourself with endless effort and begin to direct your energy where it actually matters, your state of being. This is the turning point where everything changes. Instead of asking, "What more can I do?" you begin asking, "Who am I being as I do this?" And that one question has the power to transform your entire reality.
Now that we have seen how the trap of effort keeps us stuck, let's go deeper into the key that unlocks real change: state. When I say state, I'm not just talking about your mood or whether you are having a good day or a bad day. I am talking about the entire energetic posture of your being, your thoughts, your emotions, your physiology, your beliefs, and even the subtle frequency you are radiating into the world. Your state is the lens through which you see reality. It colors everything: what you notice, how you interpret events, what choices you make, and what you magnetize toward yourself. Think about the last time you were in a really good mood. Maybe you woke up feeling grateful, your body felt light, your heart was open. On that day, things seemed to flow. You got the parking spot you wanted, you ran into someone you hadn't seen in years, opportunities seemed to appear out of nowhere. Now think about a day when you were stressed or upset. It probably felt like everything was against you. The traffic was worse, the emails kept piling up, people seemed rude or short-tempered. What changed? Not the world, your state. The external reality reflected the internal frequency you were broadcasting. This is why state is so powerful. You are not just a passive observer of reality, you are an active participant in shaping it. Modern neuroscience and quantum physics are beginning to catch up to what ancient wisdom traditions have always taught, that your consciousness is not separate from the reality you experience. In other words, you are not just in the world is also in you. The way you feel and think sends out a signal, and life responds to that signal with matching experiences. Your state determines your level of access to possibilities. When you are in a low state, fear, doubt, scarcity, you can only perceive solutions that match that level. Your brain literally filters out anything that doesn't match the frequency you are in. This is why it feels impossible to think positive when you are deeply anxious. Your state won't allow you to see the bigger picture. But when you shift into a higher state, trust, gratitude, joy, suddenly, new ideas and opportunities come into view. It feels like life is rearranging itself to meet you, when in fact, it is you who has rearranged yourself to meet life. One of the most powerful metaphors for state is the image of tuning a radio. Every station is already broadcasting, but you only hear the one you are tuned into. If you are tuned into the fear channel, you will pick up on every reason to be afraid, the news headlines, the worst-case scenarios, the people who confirm your doubts. If you are tuned into the possibility channel, you will notice synchronicities, support, and creative solutions that were invisible to you before. Both stations exist simultaneously, but your state determines which one you are experiencing. This is why effort without a shift in state feels so futile. It's like trying to listen to your favorite song on a static-filled station and thinking that turning up the volume will fix it. No matter how loud you make it, you're still hearing noise. But the moment you tune to the right frequency, the song plays clearly and beautifully. This is why I say state first, action second. Get into the right state, and your actions become more effective because they are aligned with the reality you want to create. It's also important to understand that state is not just a mental concept, it is embodied. Your posture, your breath, your tone of voice, even the tension in your muscles all reflect your current state. When you are anxious, your breath is shallow, your shoulders hunch, your stomach tightens. When you are calm and confident, your body opens, your breath slows, your voice softens. This means that shifting state is not about forcing yourself to think different thoughts. It is about gently guiding your entire being into coherence. Your mind, body, and energy all work together to create a new baseline. State also has a self-reinforcing quality. The more time you spend in a particular state, the more your brain wires itself to stay there. This is why people who live in chronic stress find it hard to relax. Their nervous system has learned that stress is the default. But the opposite is also true. The more you practice being in a state of peace, gratitude, and alignment, the more natural that state becomes. Eventually, it becomes easier to stay there than to fall back into old patterns. This is where transformation becomes sustainable, when the new state becomes your new normal. Understanding state also changes how we see challenges. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" We begin to ask, what state am I in right now that is attracting this experience? This is not about blaming yourself, it is about reclaiming your power. If your state can shape your reality, then you are not a victim of circumstances, you are a creator. You can always pause, breathe, and choose a new state, and when you do, life will respond differently. Another thing to remember is that state is contagious. When you shift your state, you affect everyone around you. You have probably felt this before. Walking into a room where someone is joyful and calm immediately puts you at ease. Likewise, being around someone tense can make you tense even if nothing is wrong. This is why your state is one of the greatest gifts you can give the world. When you are grounded and aligned, you become an anchor for others. You inspire them without saying a word, simply by radiating a different possibility. As you absorb this idea, notice what begins to shift inside you. There might be a sense of relief, as if something clicks into place. You may realize that you don't have to keep fighting to get ahead, that there is a simpler, more elegant way to live. This is the aha moment many people have when they first understand state. They see that they have been trying to solve a problem with the wrong tool. They have been trying to change their life by changing their actions, when what was needed was to change the place those actions were coming from. This is why the next step is so crucial, learning how to shift state deliberately. Because once you know how to shift your state, you can change the quality of your reality at will. You no longer have to wait for the perfect circumstances to feel good. You can feel good first, and watch as the circumstances rise to match that inner shift. This is where the magic begins, where manifestation becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about aligning with them.
Now that you understand what state really is and why it matters, the question becomes, how do you shift it? How do you move from stress, lack, or fear into a state of trust, abundance, and flow, especially when life feels overwhelming? The beautiful truth is that shifting state is not about doing something complicated or adding more to your already busy day. It is about creating small, intentional moments that bring you back to alignment. These shifts don't require hours of effort. They require presence. And the more you practice, the faster and easier it becomes. The first and most powerful way to shift your state is through your breath. Your breath is like a remote control for your nervous system. When you slow it down, your body gets the message that you are safe. Try this simple exercise. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 4. Exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. Do this for just a minute, and notice how your shoulders drop, your mind quiets, and your energy softens. You have just told your entire system to leave fight or flight and return to calm. This is one of the fastest ways to tune to a new frequency, because your body can't stay in panic when your breath is slow and steady. Another powerful tool is awareness. Most people live their lives on autopilot, not even noticing the state they are in until it explodes as anger, anxiety, or fatigue. But if you pause throughout the day and simply ask yourself, what state am I in right now? You begin to reclaim your power. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly you can see what is happening and make a conscious choice. If you notice you are tense or frustrated, that awareness itself is the first step toward shifting. You can then decide, I want to feel grounded, and take a small action to support that new state. Visualization is another gentle but effective way to shift state. Your mind doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something actually experienced, which means you can create a felt sense of your desired reality before it even arrives. Close your eyes and picture the version of you who has already created what you want. How do they walk, speak, breathe? What do they feel in their body? Let yourself feel that state as if it is real now, because in the quantum sense, it is. The more you embody that version of yourself, the faster reality aligns with it. Gratitude is also one of the most transformative state shifters available to you. When you focus on what you already have and truly appreciate it, your energy moves from lack to abundance. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about finding even one small thing to be thankful for in this moment. Whether it is the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of your breath, or the fact that you are alive right now. Gratitude opens the heart, and when the heart is open, your state naturally rises to a higher frequency. Sometimes, shifting state requires movement. Emotions are stored in the body, and when they get stuck, you can feel heavy or stagnant. Dancing, stretching, shaking out your arms, or even taking a short walk can release that energy and create space for something new. If you are feeling frustrated, try standing up and shaking your body for 30 seconds. You will be amazed at how quickly the energy changes. Your body is an ally in this process, not just a container for your mind. It is also helpful to create rituals that remind you of who you really are. This could be journaling each morning to set the tone for the day, listening to music that inspires you, lighting a candle before you work, or speaking affirmations out loud. These practices are not just routines. They are signals to your subconscious that you are choosing to be in a new state. Over time, they anchor that state so deeply that it becomes your natural baseline. Perhaps the most important part of shifting state is learning to release control. Much of our efforting comes from trying to control outcomes, forcing life to give us what we want on our timeline. But true alignment happens when we soften and trust that life is working with us, not against us. This doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what feels inspired and then letting go of the need to micromanage the result. When you release control, you create space for the universe to surprise you with solutions you couldn't have imagined. You might be wondering, what if I shift my state and life still throws challenges my way? This is where practice comes in. The goal is not to never feel fear or stress again. The goal is to recover faster, to remember that you can choose again. Think of it like tuning a guitar. It's not a one-time event. You keep tuning as needed. Each time you bring yourself back to alignment, you strengthen your ability to stay there longer. Eventually, what used to throw you off for days will only shake you for a few minutes. One powerful practice you can try right now is a quick state shift ritual. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and place your hand on your heart. Say silently or out loud, I am safe, I am supported. I choose to see this moment differently. Then picture a golden light filling your body, washing away any heaviness, and leaving you feeling open and calm. This simple practice can take less than 60 seconds, but it can completely change the energy you are carrying into the next conversation, decision, or action. Remember, the goal is not perfection. You are not trying to force yourself into being positive all the time. You are learning to become more sensitive to your state, to notice when you are out of alignment, and to gently guide yourself back. This is a lifelong practice, and with each shift, you will find that life becomes a little lighter, a little more magical, and a lot more aligned with who you really are.
Take a moment right now to notice how you feel compared to when we began. Perhaps your breath is slower, your mind a little quieter. Perhaps you feel a sense of hope rising, where before there was frustration. This is the power of shifting your state, and we have only scratched the surface. You have just experienced how quickly your energy can transform when you choose to step out of the trap of effort and into alignment. If there is one message I want you to take away from this video, it is this: you are not broken, and you do not need to exhaust yourself to create the life you want. The version of you that has been trying so hard can finally rest. You no longer have to prove your worth or push your way to your goals. Life is not meant to be a constant uphill battle. It is meant to be a dance, a collaboration between you and the greater intelligence that animates everything. When you shift your state, you stop fighting with reality and start co-creating with it. I want you to imagine for a moment the version of yourself who has fully embraced this. They wake up in the morning with a quiet confidence, trusting that life is supporting them. They take inspired action, not frantic action. They meet challenges with curiosity instead of panic. They allow joy and gratitude to guide them. This is not a fantasy. This is available to you right now. And each time you pause, breathe, and choose a new state, you are stepping closer into that version of yourself. Of course, this is a practice, not a one-time fix. There will still be days when you feel off, when fear or frustration show up. That is okay. The point is not to avoid those feelings, but to remember that you have the power to shift. Each time you do, you strengthen that muscle, and over time it becomes easier and more natural. This is how real transformation happens, not through forcing yourself to work harder, but through aligning with who you truly are. As we close, I want to leave you with an invitation for the next 7 days. Practice one simple state-shifting tool every morning. Maybe it's breathwork, gratitude, journaling, or visualization. Notice how your day unfolds differently when you begin from a state of alignment. Pay attention to the synchronicities, the small miracles, the moments of ease that begin to appear. These are signs that life is responding to your new signal. If this message resonated with you, share your experience in the comments. Let this be a space where we support each other in remembering our power. And if you found this helpful, consider subscribing so we can continue this journey together. The world needs more people living from alignment, shining their light, and inspiring others to do the same. You have everything you need within you. Trust yourself, trust life, and watch as the reality around you begins to shift in ways that once felt impossible. Your new chapter begins now.